I'm sitting here with L.C. Rice, and we're talking about gun barrels and how he got into the business. How long have you been making barrels, and how did you get into all this business?
Well, we've been in it about 10 years now, and about 4 years ago, we went national and tried to go international. It was supplemental income to start with, and I decided I didn't want a real job anymore. And so we started making barrels in '96. Rounded up machinery, some World War II military surplus, built a computerized rifling machine, have a 100-year-old antiquated 30-ton straightening press, and started off in Jackson County, North Carolina, where the Trail of Tears originated in 1831. Moved one county over into a bigger facility when I quit the hotel business. But to get into the gun business goes back in my family to the early 1700s in what's now East Tennessee. And of course we were bootleggers and thugs and all kinds of good stuff. And tried to make my first, stocked the first modern rifle when I was 13. I was about 14 when we tried to make our first muzzleloader barrel, and that was a big disaster. The Air Force got me, and after 6 years of that I moved to Atlanta, where unfortunately I got married. Moved her back to the hills so the public couldn't see her. And had a retail hunting and fishing store for a while. Built grandfather clocks for a while.
Been in about everything.
Well, anything to keep working like a normal person, you see. And then with my older brother and a cousin, we started L&R Lock Company. And we ran that for 14 years. Sold out to Bill Cox. When he brought that money in, I would have kissed him, except he was too ugly. Well, from there I went into general management of hotels, and we built wood-burning stoves on the side. We made single-shot falling block German-style high-powered accents for a while still doing the hotel business.
Is this you enlisting together, or?
And a cousin.
And a cousin.
A big, hairy, ape-looking fellow by the name of David. He's a whole lot smarter than he looks or smells, but he's a good tool man and built the molds for us at L&R. And in '96, I had a heart attack, 6 bypasses, and decided it was time to do something I wanted to do. So we went to Yankee Land and aggravated some folks to show us how to make barrels, or what we should be doing to make barrels. And then had calamities left and right until we finally got it right.
I figured it.
And here we are, still aggravating the pup.
Okay, well that sounds like a summary of years and years and years. I'm gonna back you up. Tell me a little bit about starting L&R.
L&R. Well, I was fresh out of the Air Force and got tired of building grandfather clocks. And I think Joe Scorzone, who is a reputable gun maker, along with Jim Chambers, we're doing Seiler locks, and Bud Seiler, who's still alive, lives there in our hometown, and we decided we wanted to put his kits together.
Okay.
Well, that didn't seem to be such a big problem. We had a big hammer, so we could beat those things. And we were bringing those locks here to Friendship as early as '73.
Okay.
Well, here at Friendship, we met an old gentleman named Hall Sharon. Sharon rifle barrel out of Kalispell, Montana. Well, we let him duke us into going into business with him, but we needed a proprietary product. Well, the first 300 locks had Seiler internal parts, and of course they worked very, very well. However, it's an early part, and it should have had a late English style stirrup springing, so we had to develop our own line, and eventually just go into competition with Bud, even though we were still remain friends. We developed L&R, doing percussion locks initially. But through Hall Sharon, we found an original English rainproof lock. And it was very similar to the only 2 known full-stock Hawking flintlock rifles that are atypical. One in the Smithsonian, one in the Kennett collection in Missouri. And we were able to go to the Smithsonian, blueprint the lock, and went back and built the tooling, and that put us on the map.
Okay. So basically, a Flint style Hawken was the first
Was our first
main
endeavor.
lock. Okay.
You bet.
Since then, Durzeg and
The Durzeg was our money maker, our bread maker. That was also from an original lock, about 1771 period lock. It's still in Eleanor's lineup. Well, all those locks are still there. Plus, they've expanded the line threefold. And but the Durzeg, we could never catch up with orders. We were 6 and 7 months backlog, producing about 5,000 plus locks a year for about 10 years.
That's a lot of locks.
Well, it got to the point that we were just burning. Now the loss rate in those days was hectic because we made our own masters, made our own molds, injected our own waxes, and we transported those across the mountain over into East Tennessee to a foundry that was doing one of very few foundries in the country that would handle small people.
That's like lost wax process or investment casting?
You bet. And we were losing about 32% of all the castings created wound up in the scrap. And you can't stay in business losing 32% of anything. Like I say, when Bill Cox walked in, I was a happy boy.
I was trying to think, and another one that I see on their line was a Manton lock. And I think I heard you talk about it being maybe more Stoudemire than Manton, or how did that?
We were extremely fortunate to have a good friend in Asheville, Bill Melton, who's deceased now, and he was a World War II B-24 bomber pilot, and a colorful character, but just a wonderful human being. But he had a tremendous collection of various styles of guns, but he had great interest in English. And he had two pistols that really blew our dress up, I can tell you. One was a Boutet from France, but it was too ornate to duplicate. But he had a little Stoudemire dueling pistol. And he was such a gentleman and so trusting that as we were looking at it, he could see the gleam in their eyes. And he said, would you like to have that to copy? And of course we sure would. Out of his shirt pocket, he just pulled a little notepad. He put Rice received Stoudemire pistol this day. He says, bring it back when you finish. Well, that lock was so advanced, so small, and so fast. It was just an intriguing thing to hold in your hand. Well, when we got the tooling made, we decided then on marketing, and we had a little bit of trepidation on deciding if we were going to use Durzeg's name because no one knew him. And we did have a cumbersome time edifying the public as to who Durzeg was and how he came to be in the English, being he was born in Switzerland. Same problem with Stoudemire.
Yeah, doesn't sound English, does it?
Doesn't sound English, but when one studies all the makers in the middle 1770s, as they were contemporary, they copied each other. In fact, the Mantons fought each other in patent court to the day they died as brothers. And if one had it this year, 3 months from now, the very same lock with the brother's name was on it. But the name of Manton, it was known even in the early 1980s in our time frame. And so we called it a Manton, and it's history ever since.
That's neat. Let's go to barrels now. You make about every style of barrel imaginable, I'm guessing.
We're limited in the real heavy chunk gun barrels because our machinery doesn't facilitate those. But in the contemporary barrels from short through the long Golden Age period, some of the early English short, the Jaeger style, straights, tapers, and rounds.
Cool. When you were talking about barrel making machines, it sounded like you kind of scrounged the East Coast looking for the machinery that you needed to make it.
Well, I hate to say that we had to go to Yankee Land to learn how to make that burn barrels, but two people that really helped us. One was Tommy Dick from Peebles, Ohio, and he hand cut barrels on handmade machinery.
Okay.
And he burned us really good on our first machine. And a fellow by the name of John Braxton, who lives down in Graham, North Carolina, who is a can-do person on every aspect of any gun. And he really gave us a number of pointers, headed us in the right way. And we built, well, I would say we, listed alias the Chubby Jaws, built a hand pull machine that was a sine bar.
Okay.
That was really an elite machine. But I'm here to tell you, brother, it will melt you down to pull this sucker. So we decided that, or Chubby Jaws decided he was going to scrap that sucker. And I said, heck no. There's a Southern Mountain builder across the mountain from us in North Carolina who built Southern Mountain guns, and we traded that machine for 2 rifles. And he made a fortune with the machine, and all we could do was sweat. Well, after that, we started looking around for machinery. We found a planer mill in South Carolina. We found a deep hole drill, Pratt & Whitney World War II vintage in Cincinnati. We had to build a rifling machine. A New York Yankee type blacksmith who moved to North Carolina and makes blacksmith tooling had the wheel press. We converted lathes to be reamers. Hall Sharon virtually wrote a tech manual for us. Douglas Rifle Barrel let us in for 10 hours and confused the heck out of us. Ed Rail, I don't know how many thousands of dollars we've cost him, but being the gentleman that he is, he facilitated us with no complaints. And he came down to our shop recently, looking at our proprietary computerized machine. And these machines have to be built today. There's the old World War II machinery is scrapped. And Ed Rail's running a number of those World War II Pratt & Whitney riflers. And this machine we have, again, is proprietary. We ran a disc off with the blueprints, handed it to him, said, friend, you can figure out how to build it if you want. So we've been working very well with the contemporary barrel makers. Yeah. And we've enjoyed it to this point.
That sounds good. I know from a panel discussion that you make round bottom rifling and square bottom rifling. You want to talk about that a little bit?
All right. We're asked many times which one's best. Well, we really don't know. There's no definitive laboratory test for which one's best. In the early days of American rifle barrel making, most of the barrels were round bottom rifling. There is conjecture that the guy on the frontier who did not have access to linen or flax, and even if he did, it would probably deteriorate with humidity over the years, that he possibly used split leather as a patching material. Again, speculation, but we definitely know that you cannot use that material with a square bottom. The square bottom is much cheaper to make. It's less deep, and it is the accepted principle for the target gun.
Okay.
So therefore, we give the traditionalist the swamp or tapered barrel the round bottom with an option of having a target type rifling of the square bottom if he so chooses.
Okay. Can you do even small calibers in round, or is there a point where you?
Well, our smallest caliber currently is a 32, and those barrels are so small in round rod size that if one made a square bottom, you're very subject to break the round rod, loading or cleaning, and impaling yourself on the broken rod. So that particular barrel is a radius rifling only.
Okay.
And then as we get bigger, we offer both.
Okay. So once you get above that, then you can do either one, whichever the guy wants. And they probably aren't buying a 32 caliber for a target barrel anyway.
No, a 32 is extremely accurate. A 40 is extremely accurate. A 36, which is between, while they shoot well and can barrel to barrel shoot well, the 32s will have to shoot normally the 36s, and the 40s on par with the 32. However, the 32 being small and light doesn't buck the wind.
Yeah.
A 40 is the accepted general purpose round ball target gun. And right now the Marsh boys are using our barrels, breaking their own previously set records. And they are selling a lot of barrels for us for the fact that they're wearing our logo and shooting our barrels. So they do the work, we get the accolades.
Yeah, there you go.